Hi everyone. In this video, we will talk about how to graph linear equations if they are in slope-intercept form. If you don't know what is the slope-intercept form, then let me quickly write it for you. So the slope-intercept form looks something like this. Y equals mx plus b. When your y variable is isolated on one side and rest of the other variables are on the other side. When you write it in this way, then this m variable is technically the slope of the line, and this b variable is the y-intercept of the line. So if we compare this given equation with this slope-intercept form, you can see that from this equation, I can get my slope equals to -2, and I get my y-intercept to be equals to +3. If you remember from my last video, in which I explained what the slope is and what the y-intercept is and why exactly do we need them, then I would recommend you to watch that video. If not, then I will give you a quick overview in this video as well. So this y-intercept is technically the starting point on your graph for this particular line. And the slope is technically the ratio. It is usually written as rise over run. Since it is a ratio, you can see this -2 doesn't have anything in the denominator. So what I can do is I can put 1 in the denominator. Now, what does this mean? This slope is technically telling us that this negative sign can go with the numerator or can go with the denominator. It doesn't matter what you choose. It's up to you. So what it means is -2 means I will be rising or falling 2 units down for every 1 unit in the right direction. So what I mean to say is if I start from this point, then for every 1 unit I turn right, I will go 2 units down and I will get another point. Similarly, if I go 1 unit right, I will go 2 units down. So that means I will get another point over here. So I can get multiple points using the slope over here, but my starting point is usually the y-intercept. So let's quickly graph this equation. So for graphing it, what I'm going to do is I will quickly make my coordinate system here, coordinate axis here. And on the coordinate axis, this is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. And over here, what I would be doing is I would be starting with the y-intercept. You can see the y-intercept is +3, so I will start at 1, 2, 3. So this would be my starting point. And now I will use the slope. So slope is telling me that I have to move 1 unit right. So I will move 1 unit right. And then from this point, I will go 1, 2 units down to get the next point. So if I go 2 units down, I will get the next point. So this is my next point. If I want more point just like this, I will keep on going this way. So I will move 1 unit to the right, and after that I will go 1 and 2 units down and I will get another point. Let's get 2 more points. So let's get 1 point on the left side. Keep one thing in mind. If you were going right, that means you were assuming your denominator is positive. But if you're going left, that means you are taking this negative sign with the denominator. That means your numerator would become positive, which means if you go 1 unit to the left, then you would have to go 1 and 2 units up and you will get another point. Now you can see we have enough points. If I join all these points, I will get a straight line, and that straight line would be representing the equation that was given to us. So I just graphed the equation y equals -2x plus 3. Now let's take a look at another example. This is our second equation, which question is asking us to graph it. So I would be comparing it with the slope-intercept form all over again. You can see that the coefficient of x should be my slope. So here you can see that this -1/4 coefficient is my slope. I'll write it down here. It is -1/4. Whereas my y-intercept is +3. So I would write my y-intercept over here, and that is +3. Now, again, my slope tells me something about this ratio, rise over run. That means my denominator tells me how I should move along the horizontal axis, and my numerator tells me how I'm going to move in the vertical axis. So this negative sign can be distributed to the numerator or can be distributed to the denominator. It's up to you. Whatever you do, you will get exactly the same line no matter what. So if I distribute this negative sign to the numerator, I will get -1 in the numerator and +4 in the denominator. What does that mean? That means simply that I will go 1 unit down for every 4 unit right. But If I distribute this negative sign to the denominator, that would mean I'm going 1 unit up for every 4 units left. So just keep that in mind. So if you want to use this in your graph, you are totally fine with that. If you want to use this in your graph, you're totally fine with that. If you want to get some points using this and some points using this, that is also totally fine with that. So let me quickly graph this particular equation. So let me make my coordinate axis. Again, I would label my x and y axis. So this is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. And remember, the starting point is always the y-intercept. So I will start at 1, 2, 3. So this would be my starting point. Let me change the color because this color is kind of like overlapping here. So I would maybe choose this color. And this is my starting point. If this is my starting point, you can see based on this strategy, I would go 4 units right. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. Once I go 4 units to the right, then I would have to take 1 unit down. So I will take 1 unit down. If I take 1 unit down, I will get it at this particular point. So I got one of the points here. Then I can continue over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. And then I will go 1 unit down. So if I go 1 unit down, I will end up here. So I got 3 points. Let's get 1 point on the left side as well. So if I use this, that means I would go 4 units to the left. So I will go 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left. And after taking left 4 units, I would go 1 unit up. So if I go 1 unit up here, I would end up at this particular point. So if I join all these points, I should be getting my straight line that we wanted to graph. So if I graph my line should look something like this. So we just graphed this particular function, which is technically negative 1 over 4x plus 3. So graphing slope-intercept form is pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at another example. This example is slightly different than the other example. So I would start with the same steps. I would compare it with the slope-intercept form. Now you must be saying that the slope-intercept form have 2 terms on the right-hand side, but here I only have 1 term. Where is that constant term? We don't care about that because think about this way. If there's no constant term, can I write 0 here? So technically the constant term in this scenario is 0, which means if I'm figuring out my slope is still the coefficient of x, which is this one. So I would write my slope to be negative 7 over 6. And my y-intercept, since you don't see anything added here, it should be 0 then. My y-intercept should be 0. That means I will be starting my graph at the origin when y value is 0 and x value is 0. So I don't need to write it. I just wrote it for your reference only. Now, once again, this slope is telling us that how much I'm rising for how many units I'm running. So again, the same thing, this negative 7 over 6 is telling me that I will go 7 units down for every 6 units right. Or I'm going 7 units up for every 6 units left. It's as simple as that. No matter whether you use this explanation or both of them to get the points, you're fine with that. Let's quickly graph this line. So let me make my coordinate axis. So if I make my coordinate axis, let me label it. This is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. And I will start. So keep one thing in mind. Remember, my y-intercept is 0. That means this would be my starting point. From this starting point, let's say I use this explanation. So I will go 6 units to the right. So I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will go 6 units to the right, and then I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 units down. So I will end up at this particular point. Same with, I can go on the left side as well. So on the left side, keep one thing in mind. So far, I have been showing you that I move right and left first and then up and down later. It doesn't matter which order you do in. If I want to do this on the left side, what I would be doing is I can show you, I can go 7 units up and 6 units left as well. So I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units up. I will go up here and then I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In fact, we have to go 6 units left. So I would end up with another point over here. So if I erase these reference lines, and you can see we have 3 points on this particular line. So I can join these points and I can get the line. So if I join these points, you can see this line looks something like this. So that would be our line. So we just graphed the line, which is y equals -7/6x. That's it. So I hope this would make sense. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.